You are a fine barber, Charles. Do you want to be rich, famous, and powerful? Charles stopped, his scissors mid-air. What do you mean?
In a quiet village, surrounded by palm trees and red dusty roads, there was a river in the village the villagers feared. They called it River Omiri, the rivers of whispers. It was beautiful, calm during the day, shining like glass under the sun, but once night came, it spoke. They said, if you walked too close after midnight, you would hear voices calling your name, voices that did not belong to the living. No one fished in the river, no one fetched water from it after sunset. Even children knew to stay far away. But one man, Charles, did not believe in all of that. He had come from the city, looking for peace and a fresh start. Charles was a skilled barber, known for his steady hands and sharp blades. In the city, he had worked for years, cutting the hair of wealthy men until life happened to him. He got tired of his living situation and everything around him wasn't working. He wanted a quiet life where he could rebuild from scratch. So he packed his things and moved to the village. When he arrived, he saw a small empty shop by the riverside, the one everyone avoided. It was cheap, almost free. The villagers warned him. They said, "Charles, don't open your barber shop there. The river doesn't like company." But Charles laughed and said, "Rivers, spirit, come on. I came here to cut hair, not to chase ghost stories." So he fixed the shop, painted it bright blue, and hung a sign that read, "Charles the Barber, clean cut, fair price." At first, things were slow. The villagers did not trust the place. But curiosity is a funny thing. One man went there for a haircut and came out smiling, saying, "Ah, Charles is good oh. The river did not bite me." Soon others followed. Charles became known as the village barber who brought different styles to the village. Men came from nearby towns, and he became busy from sunrise to sunset. He was happy. He even began to whistle while walking, forgetting all about the stories of the river. But then, one night, everything changed. It was a cold evening. The morning was bright, and the village was quiet. Charles had closed his shop and was counting his money by the lantern's sight when someone knocked on his door. Knock, knock, knock. He frowned. It was almost midnight. "Who is there?" he called out. A voice answered, old and dry, like someone who hadn't spoken for years. "Just a traveler in need of a haircut." Charles hesitated. "Come back tomorrow, old man. I am closed for the night." But the voice said again, slowly, "I can only come out at night. Please, I will pay you double for your trouble." Charles sighed. Money was money after all. He unlocked the door, and there he stood, a tall, thin, old man, with skin as pale as moonlight, and eyes that looked wet. His grey hair hung long and tangled, dripping as though he had just stepped out of the river. Charles blinked. The floor beneath him was wet. "Did it rain?" he asked. The old man only smiled. His teeth were too white. "Let us begin," he said, sitting in the chair. Charles tried to act normal. He covered the man with a cloth and picked up his scissors. "So how do you want it?" The man said softly. "Make me new again." Charles chuckled nervously and began cutting something. and began cutting. But something felt strange. The air was cold, ice cold. Every time he sniped, he thought he heard the sound of waves. Then the old man spoke again. You are a fine barber, Charles. Do you want to be rich, famous, powerful? Charles stopped, his scissors mid-air. What do you mean? The man smiled, his reflection in the mirror, shimmering like water. I can give you the gift of success. Every man who sits in your chair would live richer, stronger, and you will never grow old. All I ask is a little offering. Charles laughed, thinking it was a joke. Offering? What kind? The man's voice deepened. A drop of blood each night. Drop from your finger into the river. Charles frowned. That is nonsense. The man turned his head, and for a moment his eyes looked like two dark pools swirling with faces of people calling for help. Think carefully, Baba. Some gifts come once in a lifetime. And before Charles could speak again, the man stood up. He looked into the mirror, but his reflection was gone. Then in a blink, he vanished. Only the chair remained wet. The next morning, Charles thought it was all a dream. He laughed at himself. Too much palm wine, he said. But that day, something strange happened. A man came in for a haircut. He had been poor for years, struggling to feed his family. After his haircut, he thanked Charles and left. The next day, that same man returned, shouting with joy. Charles, my luck changed overnight. Someone bought all my goods. I am rich. Others began to talk. Soon everyone who got a haircut from Charles found unexpected blessings, promotions, wealth, love, success. Charles became famous. People traveled from faraway town just to sit in his chair. His shop overflowed with customers, and coins filled his drawer. At night, though the river whispered, he began hearing his name. Charles, Charles. He tried to ignore it, but each night it grew louder. He remembered the old man's words. A drop of blood. At first he refused, but one night the whisper became unbearable, like 1,000 voices crying out his name. So with shaking hands, he pricked his finger and let one drop fall into the river. The water shimmered and went still, and from that night the whispers stopped. Weeks passed. Charles grew wealthier, his skin smoother, his energy stronger. He did not seem to age at all. Boys also started having strange dreams. He dreamt of faces under the water, faces of customers smiling and waving from beneath the river. When he woke up, he was drenched in sweat. He tried to stop cutting hair, but he couldn't. The more people he cut, the more his shop prospered. And deep down, something told him that each haircut made the river stronger. One day, a young boy came to him. The boy couldn't afford a haircut, but he begged, Please, sir, I have a job interview tomorrow. Charles felt pity and said, Sit, I will do it for free. He began cutting, but halfway through, the river outside began to roar loudly as if a storm had risen from nowhere. The boy jumped. What is that sound? Charles froze. He looked through the window. The river was swirling like boiling water. Then suddenly, the boy's reflection in the mirror disappeared. Charles gasped. He turned around. The boy was gone. Only his shirt remained on the chair. Charles screamed. He ran outside, calling the boy's name, but the river had gone calm again, silent as death. From that day, everything changed. Customers stopped coming. Those who had visited before began to fall sick, losing their minds or drowning mysteriously. The rivers started whispering that the river had cursed him. Charles shut down the shop. He tried to move away, but every time he parked, the river called him back in his dreams. He could hear the old man's voice. You made a deal, Charles. You can't run from what you owe. He became pale and weak, his hands trembling, his scissors rustling. The shop by the river stood abandoned, its blue paint peeling, its mirror cracked. One night, unable to take it anymore, Charles went to the river. He fell to his knees and cried, What do you want from me? The water rippled from it, rose the old man again, dripping, smiling. You took my gift. Now give me what is mine. Charles begged, Take everything, just leave me alone. The man pointed at the scissors in Charles' hands. One last cut, he said. Cut your own hair and you will be free. Charles, desperate, lifted the scissors and began cutting. As each strand fell into the river, it turned to silver light. When he finished, he looked into the water and saw not his reflection, but hundreds of faces beneath, staring back. The old man laughed softly. You are one of us now. And with a splash, Charles was gone. The next morning, the villagers found the barber's door open, the chair empty, the scissors floating on the riverbank. They buried the scissors under a tree and sealed the shop forever. To this day, they said that on moonlight nights, if you walk by River Omiri, you can hear the sound of scissors snipping in the wind and a voice whispering, Your turn, my friend, your turn. Be careful what you wish for not every gift brings peace. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share to your friends and family, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and tell me what moral lesson you had gotten from the story. Bye for now.